Yo, yo. Nando and Jakey. It's special guest Chris Meaney! What an exciting time. Meaney's back. This is great. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. It's nice to see you guys. I've been watching. I was telling Jake when I did the show with him a couple weeks ago that I've been watching you guys every single week do this, and just happy to be here. And I love that you guys are getting on the camera again. Open
invitation. Anytime you want to join, Chris Meaney. I'm sure the people agree.
Happy, yes.
They love their Chris Meaney almost as much as we do.
Chris Meaney was the first guest of the season on All in Sports. I just had Brad this past week. Came full circle.
Right, way to work a plug out of a sincere, nice thing to say about Chris.
No, that was a whole. Shut up. That was about Chris, me, and Brad being back.
Check this out. Chris Meaney's got a podcast. We're giving a little love on our ticker. Ooh, check it out. Nice.
Yeah, Mean Streets. 3 episodes deep. 4th one happening will be out momentarily after probably we're done here, and 1 more tomorrow. So yeah, it's just been 3 days a week, having some fun with it. Looking to get some guests soon. Hopefully you guys will join me on Mean Streets. But yeah, just riding with the flow and loving it right now.
You don't even have to ask me. Just send me a link and I'll drop everything.
Perfect.
Kevin, is this the right channel? Yeah, it is. Let's get into this. Drop your questions into the chat on the side. I think you could pretty much just drop them in the thread on Twitter. If you're watching on Facebook, put them right underneath this. As they start coming in, we'll answer them.
Why don't you capitalize the T in iTunes?
Am I supposed to?
Yes.
I don't know. I think people understand what it is, Jake.
No, now it looks like iTunes.
All right, tell you what. Will I go change the iTunes capital T? Which, by the way, Jake, it's Apple Podcasts, not even iTunes anymore. But I had to sacrifice Apple Podcasts for the extra Y's in Jakey.
Oh, yeah, you definitely didn't have to do that.
I'd like to hear about Chris Meaney. Since you're our guest, you go first. In a PPR league, people have some start-sit questions. Would you start Adrian Peterson or J.D. McKissick? Because they're both very tight in Jake's rankings. I'd like to know where you go, because you're also a top finisher in the Fantasy Pros rankings.
Yeah, in years past. I might be struggling this year in Fantasy Pros.
I mean, you get in once, you're in for good, man. It's like, yeah.
I still remember the time when Jake and I were talking about it in a former show, and he says, yeah, congratulations, Meaney finished 3rd. And I was like, yeah, it was a bit of a surprise. And he's like, yeah, that was a hell of a surprise.
Good old Jake.
But, I would go J.D. McKissick there, honestly. Matt Patricia and rotating through all these backs, who knows if he gives Swift the kind of work that he should. But J.D. McKissick is like top 5 in targets and catches over the past 3 weeks. And, Washington really just throws to 3 guys. It's McLaurin, Gibson, and J.D. McKissick. So I've liked what I've seen from McKissick. He played more snaps than Gibson last week. I believe he had maybe 1 more carry than him. He's not a big, he's not going to get you 10, 12 carries a game, but it seems like on average he's getting about 5 catches. I think that's valuable in a PPR league.
Jake, you had McKissick, I think, 1 above Adrian Peterson, right?
Yeah.
Does Adrian Peterson usage scare you off DeAndre Swift at all?
No. Matt Patricia scares me off of being confident in using him any single week, but McKissick's just been constantly used. And if you look at the matchup here and assume that the Cowboys offense bounces back a little bit, then that's going to mean more McKissick than Antonio Gibson. But that's just really what I keep saying it. He's Theo Riddick, and that's not a bad thing.
Okay. I have heard you say that before.
Like 17 times before.
Every time. Every Thursday. Here we go, Jakey. And Chris Meaney. 0.5 PPR, Swift or McKinnon. Meaney, what do you think?
I will lean with McKinnon there. Yeah, I think we need to hear more news if Wilson's going to play, but I would just go with McKinnon. He's been fine. I know he had the couple dud games, but he's been involved in the passing game. He's gotten some red zone carries when there's no Wilson or no Mostert. We're not going to see Mostert this week, so I'll lean with McKinnon there. Again, this is Matt Patricia, and it's just so frustrating to see the usage. It was nice after the bye week that they had a game plan for him and he got some red zone carries, but give me McKinnon.
Sounds like you don't like Matt Patricia.
I don't. Not at all.
I know.
Anybody really like Matt Patricia?
I don't know. Jake, do
you? Like Matt Patricia? No. Hopefully he's fired after this year.
You'd buy a Matt Patricia Funko.
No, I definitely would not.
Jake,
I'd buy a Swift Funko, and I would take McKinnon 10 times out of 10 on that one. It's not even close in my opinion.
Thank you for getting very deep into a throwaway comment. Jake, McKinnon or Fuller? Let's I guess focus in on McKinnon a little bit. McKinnon or Fuller, Kyle wants to know.
They're so close that it's McKinnon if you want the safe points. It's Fuller if you want the upside. The only concern that you have with Fuller, but we don't know, is whether or not Jair Alexander shadows him. And Alexander shadows a decent amount, but you have to look at the Cook side of things and then the second corner. And do you waste? I think you're losing a height difference there. So I don't know if Alexander if he was shadowing Fuller, if we knew, I would say start McKinnon. But because we don't, because it might be 50-50, I'll say Fuller's still got a really high ceiling.
Speaking of shadowing, Chris Meaney, we got a question from Timothy Mozgov. How do you think Ramsey affects A-Rob?
Yeah, I mean, Ramsey's obviously a beast, but, early in the year, I think it was week 1, Amari Cooper had a successful game with Ramsey on him for most of the game. So, I mean, Allen Robinson is the guy that you just play every single week, even in a tough matchup, because it seems like Nick Foles just has forced him the football over the past couple of weeks. So I would start Robinson. He's not a lock as a wide receiver 1, but he's definitely a wide receiver 2. I think Alexander does shadow Fuller. I think I would agree that McKinnon is the play.
Yeah, but we won't know. That's the unfortunate thing.
Well, isn't that 80% of fantasy football, Jake? Not knowing.
I want to say 80%.
Isn't that why we're here? All right, fine. Meaney, have you ever seen Swingers? Jake revealed on the podcast this morning that he hadn't. And he's never seen Blockers.
Oh, I've never seen any of that, so I can't say much.
Well, all right. Let's move on then. Some more questions.
In your face.
Noah Fishkin wants to know Debo or Boston Scott in a 0.5 PPR. We got a couple Boston Scott questions here.
Go to Meaney. This is his team.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is my squad. Yeah.
Wait, I thought your squad was Miami. No, it's Garion. That's right.
That is Garion. Yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot to get excited about Miami. They're turning the pages to Tua. They're 500, just a game back of a playoff spot. I would go Boston Scott there. This is his backfield. And I was just looking at the last 4 games of 2019 when everybody was hurt, just like right now in Philadelphia. And even Miles Sanders wasn't 100%. And Boston Scott averaged 16 opportunities, 6 catches per game over those final 4 games. So I would imagine he touches the ball maybe 15 times. And, he only played 30 snaps last week and had 4 targets. Part of that was game script there down against Baltimore. But I would assume he's getting at least 4 targets in the game tonight.
Jake, really quickly, are you good with a quick cameo? Celebrity cameo?
Yes.
Mark Cabali. One of the greatest beat writers of all time, right?
All time, yeah. Stud.
The man is a god. Mark Cabali. Pittsburgh Steelers. Check him out. Follow him. I believe it's just Mark Cabali on Twitter. Right? But he's great, too.
Check in and tell us what the hell's going on with Juju.
Yeah, sure. Shoot me a slack, Mark, if you want to tell us what the hell's going on with Juju. Noah says, thanks a lot. I'd say all time. All time? I hope this isn't a burner account. Who knows?
We skipped a ton of questions.
Jake, come on, man. All right, we'll get to it. Sorry, Mark Cabali pops in. You put Mark Cabali on the top of the list, man.
I'm just looking. Because I was looking back up, and one of the questions is what the hell to do with Juju. Surprisingly on topic there.
Here we go. All right, fine. Mr. Miyagi 2010, PPR flex, Juju or Christian Kirk? Chris Meaney, you're our guest.
Kirk for me. I've liked what I've seen from Kirk over the past couple of weeks. He's like top 15 in terms of ADOT and air yards over the past 3 weeks. And this is just the Seattle Seahawks, right? It's just it's a defense they're allowing 60 fantasy points per game to wide receivers. So yeah, it's boom or bust with Christian Kirk. He touched the ball twice last week and scored 2 touchdowns, but I would go with Kirk there.
Well, here we go. This is awesome. This is amazing. This is like The Martian, where we're asking questions and we're getting Mark's replies here in real time. This is great. All right, not Juju, man. Juju's lit. I wrote a little bit about Juju Smith-Schuster today, and I noticed his air yard targets, Jake, are like the lowest on the team compared to everybody. I found that somewhat interesting. I actually don't know what it means. I just assume Roethlisberger just wants to bomb it out to everybody else and then throw little dinks to Juju Smith-Schuster for some reason.
Is there a question there?
No, I like putting my Jake. I like putting my opinion into things.
Yeah, he's giving you a hard time, isn't he?
This is Jake. He's showing off for you. If I get a trade for Antonio Brown, just hold. Jake, what do you think, man?
I have no idea. This is the most vague question I've ever seen. No, just hold. Get a trade. What do you mean? You trade him? You trade him away? You trade to get him? I put it in. I pinned it at the top of the rankings. I broke down the entire Antonio Brown thing because I knew everybody was going to ask for it. So it's at the very top. Everything that I could cover, whether you want to trade him or trade away for him or trade something for him or whatever.
I told you, man. This guy's a legend. Juju too much in the slot. There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
Hey, Chris, do you want to go do our own video? Well, Mark and Nanu just do this.
Sorry, Jake. My bad.
I love Mark.
Deontay Johnson or Robbie Anderson, PPR, Chris Meaney?
Robbie Anderson. Yeah.
All right. We don't need anything on that, right?
No real analysis. I would just go with Robbie. I mean, he's been great all year.
Jake, is this true? You're making fun of Jay Fish, Jake?
I don't know if I was. I still would. Because things can change in a week when people get reinstated to the NFL.
I can't see a team being like, yeah, dude. Look, the Ravens just got Des Bryant instead of Antonio Brown. I can't see a team being like, I can trust Antonio Brown, who tore up his feet in a cryo chamber, who taped John Gruden's phone call, who did all boom, 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 boom. Like, that guy's definitely not going to go out and get COVID and bring it into the locker room, right? Like,
it's not that. It's just you have to pick him up just to immediately trade him away because people go bananas for this all the time. And, people on Twitter like, nobody's trading you one wide receiver, one value. Meanwhile, I have people in the comments who just got trades of bringing in Jonathan Taylor for DeAndre Swift. I have people every single year that make trades and, hey, Josh Gordon entered the chat room. People were trading wide receiver 2 level for Josh Gordon the last time he just came back. Somebody's going to do it. At worst case, you get wide receiver 2. And if he signs with the Seahawks, the problem is if he signs with the Seahawks, he's going to be Michael Gallup, most likely. That he's going to have some nice games, but when are they going to be? He's probably the third option because you can't bench Tyler Lockett, and Metcalf's role is not going to change. So you pick him up for the trade value. I'm not saying pick him up to start him.
I like this question from Bubblehead.
AB, Antonio Brown.
Who's more valuable, AB or Dez? I don't know, man. Dez is basically on a team. And
he's on the Ravens. They both have the same situation. They're like, you think Dez is going to start next week?
Maybe a couple weeks.
So Antonio Brown, a couple weeks. I actually think Antonio Brown has more trade value.
Yeah.
What about you, Chris?
Yeah, he definitely has more.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, Dez is even. I don't even know if he has anything left. At least I know that AP does have something left. If he can get on the field and, we can block out all the noise that comes with AB. But I agree with everything that Jake said. I've already seen AB flipped in one of my dynasty leagues. His ownership in Yahoo leagues has jumped up to 45% in 24 hours. I would sell this guy for basically anything.
Here's a weird psychological question. Is now the time, like if you missed out on Antonio Brown and you don't want any part of Des Bryant really, is now the time to grab Josh Gordon? Jake, because I mean that'll be like the next guy, could maybe jump in.
He's already on the Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm saying I'm talking like fantasy. Is now the time to grab him, put him on the end of your roster?
No.
Let me ask that another way, Jake. All right, fine. Why?
Because he's irrelevant.
But not for your team. No, I think like someone irrelevant. Sees Josh Gordon showed up at the facility.
No. Right. I would trade for Dez before I would trade for Josh Gordon.
Chris, do you have an opinion on this?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can if you're in a deep league, I suppose you can pick up and stash them because, as Jake said, everybody just love these guys, like all three of these guys, right? Like Desi, people are getting upset about Desi. Throw up the X88. Like, are you kidding me? It's been years since we've seen Des Bryant, but he's got name value, and same with Josh Gordon and AB. But I don't think that all three of them. I don't think that they'll be fantasy relevant this year.
Here, I'll go back.
Run the football.
Since you spent all that time with Mark, I will tell Sam Teddy at Atlanta would be the pick. I would go.
Hold on, I can pull them up. Where are they? All the way up top?
You're way back. I'm trying to catch up for you. I was going to do a rapid fire.
Oh, go ahead. But I mean, no one knows what they're going to be talking about. It's not fun for everyone else.
The people who ask the questions, Will. Teddy versus Atlanta next week. Allen Robinson versus Swift. Meaning there's one there. He needs 10 points. I would say Allen Robinson, despite the bad matchup.
How do you already need 10 points? That's projections?
I don't know. He just asked. He said potentially more 10 points, or he or she, because it says mama, so I'm assuming she.
Mama Mello. There we go. Mama Mello. I assume that's a she.
Yes.
I just answered the question.
All right. I want people to see what we're doing.
Okay. Brian, I don't know what he's talking about.
I think he's saying Jake flex. Just do a quick flex for us.
No, Meaney's got the flex shirt on.
I do, yeah. I was rocking the flex shirt so Jake would trade me Myles Gaskin in his league because I really want him. So yeah, I thought maybe butter him up a little bit.
Hey, there's a good one. Fuller, Evans this week.
Shout out to RotoWare.
Fuller and Evans this week, rest of season. I would take Fuller, and people know I'm not the biggest Fuller fan. Evans with Chris Godwin on the field is bad news.
Yeah, it is bad news. He's on pace for career lows across the board. I mean, he probably scored double-digit touchdowns. I do really like Tampa's schedule in the playoffs where he could probably blow up, but he's not really involved.
I got a question for Chris. It's not part of the Jake Rapid Fire. I just want to clarify. I've got a couple questions this week. Someone wants to hold on to Rodrigo Blankenship on his bye. Chris, would you do that?
I actually, in a dynasty league, held him. Yeah, I dropped somebody else, but it's a deeper format. Hilarious. I actually had this conversation. You guys both know this guy, Mike Omalon. The same thing in the redraft league. He said he was shocked that a guy in the league had kept him because he was looking to grab him. Yeah, I mean, kickers or whatever, but it's an offense that does seem that it's stalling with Phillip Rivers. He has been pretty good. I'm just losing it with Jake leaving at the kickers. Yeah, I would actually try to hold him if you could.
You would really? All right. So like you're going to carry 2 kickers for a week.
Just for a week. If your roster's deep enough, like who are you dropping? You might be just dropping a scrub. I wouldn't drop like a depth piece. I would keep Joshua Kelly or Cam Akers or Zach Moss, like those guys who could potentially be next up. I would keep those guys, but I would drop somebody that you're not. I don't know.
Hate this. This is stop wasting time.
Whoa, Jake.
I had people drop kickers to pick up Antonio Brown, and that was the best move. Smart.
That is a smart move.
Sure, and then for another kicker.
Meaney, let me ask you this, because we talk about this a lot, but this is the first time you've been on the show here. What's your take on the Chargers backfield? Would you rather have Joshua Kelly or Justin Jackson?
I would rather have Justin Jackson. Yeah, I was impressed with him against the Saints. I believe the Saints have gone 48 or 49 straight games without allowing a running back to get 100 yards against them on the ground. And he had 70 some odd splitting basically in the first half with Kelly. And he took over in the second half. He had a nice, I think, a 36-yard run. He caught a few balls. I believe he had 5 targets, 4 catches. So I think it's going to be a bit of a committee, but I would give the edge to him, maybe 60-40. I think he's deserved more touches. Yeah, I would lean him.
Let's hit some more questions. Law Dog Jr., Jake. Start Boston Scott or Tim Patrick in the flex?
Same as it was usually the situation. Boston Scott, you guaranteed points. Tim Patrick if you want the upside.
All right. Meaney, let's go to Edith's 1Z. Would you all trade Melvin Gordon for Antonio Gibson full PPR?
Yeah, I would. Is Gordon going to get suspended by the league? I don't know. That's possible.
What's going on with that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's certainly possible that maybe he misses a game or 2.
3 if he gets suspended.
If he gets suspended, so 3. Yeah, that would be. I mean, that there alone, just assuming that that's a possibility, I would probably do it. Plus, I do like the schedule and the fact he's also catching balls like 4 or 5 a game.
You're talking about Antonio Gibson?
Yeah.
All right, just making sure.
Michael Thomas wasn't seen at practice again.
Oh, man. Third eye guy. Looks like he's got to pick one of these between Deontay Johnson, Darius Slayton, Jerick McKinnon, or Joshua Kelly. There's some nice context. Thank you, third eye guy, except you're blocking out Meaney. Jake, what do you think? Deontay Johnson, Darius Slayton, Jerick McKinnon, or Joshua Kelly in a full PPR flex?
I'll let Meaney answer. You put third eye guy up every single week. I have a feeling he's not even looking at the rankings.
I'm so sorry that I wait. All right, fine. Third eye guy, will you please subscribe and look at Jake's rankings, or at least let us know in another comment that you're a subscriber and you look at Jake's rankings and just like asking this because it's easier.
Ask Chris.
I think I would lean McKinnon there as guaranteed points for backs. I really like Slayton this year. I'm seeing a lot of people talk about selling high on him. I don't know. He checks out in terms of air yards, end zone targets. I know that Shepard's coming back. I don't care about him. I think Slayton's a stud, but now he's got to go up against Darius Slay today. So that's why I think I lean McKinnon.
Yeah, and that makes it worse. There is no clarification. I start who I have in my rankings.
Oh, Jake, come on, man.
Chris knows. No, because people are like, would you really start? Yes, I really would.
He's not asking that. He's just asking a question in the live video
I know.
chat.
I'm busting his chops.
He does. Yeah, obviously, as I said with the other, and we love you for it. Thanks, third eye.
I know. I'm just giving him a hard time. But you have my rankings. That's why I was letting Chris answer. I'm just
shout out to third eye guy and Mark Cabali.
Since you
VIPs.
I don't have your question. I'm kidding. I am a subscriber. I do check them out from time to time. But what is your answer there? Is it McKinnon or?
I didn't even read the players. I was looking at the next question that was skipped, and the fact that Minshew is not getting benched. They're not turning to Mike Glennon.
Does somebody think that?
There's a question.
There's Doug Marone's comments.
Which
I missed that.
Because of DJ Chark and all that type of stuff.
Jake, let me handle the question, Sarah, all
right? You sidebar like 8 billion times. I'm just trying to get to more of these.
You're welcome. Meaney, who are you going for as Halloween?
I haven't even gave that any thought at all.
All right. Take your time. You let us go. Let us know some other time.
I was looking for DuckTales masks for the show for next week, and there's like none of them on Amazon.
Next question. Doesn't even merit a comment right now, Jake. Jake, you got a week. Why don't you try and make one? Get some paper mache, go to Michael's, get some paints.
Yeah, and all my damn free time.
How important is this mask to you?
Nando acts like I live in a world where I get 40-hour days and everybody else only has 24.
If anyone out there comes across a DuckTales mask, let Jake Ciely know.
Not mask. They had those. They had these. I want like full-on Scrooge McDuck.
Nando, do you have a costume?
No, I don't. I stopped doing Halloween. It got too mainstream. It got too mainstream for me, man. So what I do
feel
is.
I don't believe it, man. I worked with you before, and you came into the studio with all kinds of Halloween getup.
Too mainstream, Chris.
Yeah,
I don't celebrate holidays. Those are too common man things.
No, but I tell you what, like I don't, it's weird this year. So what's the point? But
I don't know if you know this, Chris. Nando's the biggest Arbor Day fan there is.
That's true.
Really?
He doesn't even know what Arbor Day is, man. He's Canadian.
That's true.
Answer the Kirk or Green question.
Kirk.
All right, Jake, you got an opinion
for rest of the season?
Yeah.
AJ Green in half if they start using him like they did last week, but I don't trust that.
Here's a good one from what looks like it's
no.
Okay. You sure about it? You don't need, what if it's Royce Freeman?
It's not Royce Freeman.
How do you know?
If it is Royce, yeah, then you go Murray, but it can't be.
Let me see. Jake, any requests on questions, or can I just go to the ones that... See? There you go.
Hey, could you at least call him Chris? Could you at least call him by his name?
How do you know Third Eye Guy's real name?
No, he says thanks, Guy. I'm saying, can you call him?
I think he meant to say thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Or maybe he was doing it because South Park. Hey, buddy, I'm not your guy, buddy. Hey, buddy.
Jake. Not your pal.
I will go. I should go as Azer this year. I got a bunch of Azer posters behind me. You can't see them. They're on the ground.
Would you trade Keenan Allen for Michael Thomas, Chris?
Let me get that one up. It's all in caps from J-Dog.
Ooh, no, I think I'm just going to keep Keenan, man. Yikes. That's crazy, but I don't know, man. Thomas, I don't want to deal with what's going on.
If I have a winning record, I'd make that trade.
Jake, I don't think we've answered this one yet from Kevin Soderling. Is Travis going Fulgham tonight? Should you start him over Robert Woods in the flex against the Giants?
I'm not starting him over Robert Woods, but it wouldn't surprise me. The biggest concern I have is that he's facing James Bradbury, who's been a shutdown corner this year. The only good thing Gettleman, I think, has done in the past 3 years. But James Bradbury was my concern last week for Terry McLaurin, who did some of his work away from Bradbury. Bradbury's faced top-end wide receivers, and you know how much I love Fulgham, but let's be honest about him and the difference between Robert Woods and Fulgham, like career-wise at this point. If Bradbury's on Fulgham, I'm concerned. But if Bradbury spends his time with Deshaun Jackson, then great. Yes, Fulgham could be top 15 again this week.
Fulgham, has he kind of vaulted himself, Meaney, for you? Because Jake is biased because they both went to Old Dominion. But has Fulgham kind of cemented himself as like a start every week without question kind of guy? Like what does he have to do to fall out of that, basically?
Yeah, to fall out, they would need a healthy Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson. I don't know if Jeffrey
and Rager.
Yeah, and Rager. They would need everyone back for sure. I think he's a starting X wide receiver the rest of the way, even if Jeffrey comes back. I think he's passed the test over the past couple of weeks against the Steelers and last week against Baltimore in a tough matchup. He's been great. He's actually like a big body wide receiver who's got pretty good hands, and Wentz has been looking his way in the red zone. I agree with Jake. I would go Woods, but I think, he's at worst, I would go wide receiver 3 rest of the way. And Jackson is, I don't even think Jackson's going to play 50% of the snaps tonight.
That's going to be Jake thumbing up all of the comments we're getting. I'm trying to get them up quickly for you, Jake, if that's okay.
Dropped Rodrigo.
Meaney, would you rather have Devontae Freeman or Travis Fulgham right now? Let's just say straight flex. You don't have any needs anywhere. Just straight up.
Fulgham.
All right. Jake, Timmy Turner wants to know, is Jake dropping rest of season rankings?
No.
All right.
Why?
Shout out to Mark Whittiak. Sorry, Meaney. He found something on Etsy for you, Jake.
Can I copy and paste that?
You can go on the Facebook page and copy and paste it.
Oh, let's see if I can copy it from the... Oh, wait, I can copy it from the comments, even though I can't post a comment like you can.
I mean,
have you never gone as a ducktail?
I'm not paying $300 for it.
Jake, come on, man.
It's Darkwing Duck, though. That's even better. $300. I appreciate the link, but $300.
Send the Etsy seller a note.
The Canadian, do it. That's like $200.
Oh yeah, Jake. That's like nothing.
That's $200.
That's like $25 for you.
It won't get to you in time, though.
No, what? It'll get here for next Halloween.
Meaney, what do you think of this? Since Mark asked this question, I'm giving him VIP line access. He's in the Kabali Club.
No,
Gus Dobbins.
Wait. You didn't even promote Brandon Funston's rest of season rankings for that question.
I was waiting for you to do that.
Yeah, okay.
Every other week, Brandon Funston's big board, rest of season rankings. Plus, Chris Vaccaro sometimes slips a list in there of like the top 10 wide receivers he'd like for the rest of the year, stuff like that. So, whereas Jake doesn't have any time to help you out there, everybody else does, and we're glad to.
Well said.
Jakey. Meaney, how you breaking down this Ravens backfield?
Oh man, what a complete mess. It's nuts. I would, if I had to choose, I guess Dobbins, just because of his upside, and maybe Ingram goes away and we'll see a little bit more Dobbins. But Gus Bus has been the red zone guy. He got the red zone touchdown against the Eagles last time out. I don't want any of them, to be honest with you. I would just look for somebody else, but I'll choose Dobbins.
Yeah, it's kind of like I brought this up on the podcast, I think Tuesday, and it's kind of like if you have Baker Mayfield in the 2-quarterback or Superflex league, you're screwed. Like, you can't trade him. You kind of got to start him. There's no way you can drop him and go get someone else. This is almost like almost the same thing. Like, you can't really drop J.K. Dobbins. You can't really start him. Like, no one's gonna want him in a trade. He's just kind of.
I'll trade for Dobbins.
It's purgatory, really. What would you trade for him, Jake?
You can trade nothing for him right now. You could trade AJ Green and probably get him right now. People don't want him anymore. They're willing to drop him, and all it takes is Ingram actually missing time and getting down to 2 running backs.
Yeah.
How about Zach Moss?
Never been a Zach Moss guy. Don't think there's much here. The biggest problem is, we talked about it before, Josh Allen takes away the rushing touchdowns on his own.
Let me ask you, I mean, is that a problem with Daniel Jones too, to a degree? Like, Daniel Jones ran for 70-something yards last week. Do you put him in the same category as Josh Allen, Cam Newton now, or is Daniel Jones a non-factor?
No, I don't think I put him in that category. You know, Cam can't throw the ball down the field. At least Jones can do that. But yeah, there is that. I'm people always say I'm a Cam hater, but I'm just not feeling him.
All right, we got to wrap it up. We're almost at the 30-minute mark. Really quickly, Jake, are there any questions that I skipped that you want to answer? Because the last one I'm gonna pull up is Brian Sick. But Jake, if you have anyone you want to answer privately, let me know, or just say it.
No,
all right.
I think we're good. I'm looking right now. Yeah.
Also, if you'd all like to find a way to say thank you to Chris Meaney for taking time out of his day to help out, go to the Mean Streets podcast. Just give it 5 stars and be like, Meaney is the man. That helps. It's not like an ego thing. The more ratings and the more stars you get, it'll surface more in the iTunes, now Apple Podcast rankings. So it actually helps Meaney more than just being like, oh, people like me. Or like for the next person who finds it, seeing these great things. So go give him 5 stars and say Meaney is the man. It's a nice, easy thing to do.
Who just think it's the last question?
Brian Sick.
Oh, nice.
You clicked on the wrong one.
Yeah, well, I wanted to give a shout out to Meaney for this question. Yeah.
All right. Well, that last one then. DJ Chark, Allen Robinson, check the link. T. Higgins being slept on. You're not obviously a subscriber and reading my stuff.
I think he means by the general public, Jake. I think that
Kamara for CEH, Godwin, and Mike Evans. I hate to lose Kamara, but you take that trio. Lindsey is still startable with Gordon around. He was actually better than Gordon when he got hurt in that first game. There you go. I just gave you 4 quick questions.
Brian Sick. Le'Veon Bell for Dobbins. Meaney, what do you think? Take us home, Meaney.
No. I would just keep Bell. I think he can do better than Dobbins. You could trade Bell for somebody better.
Jakey.
Yeah, I said Bell.
All right.
I think only because I could think you get Dobbins cheaper, like Chris said. I don't think Bell's cutting too much into it. I still have to answer our roundtable on that one. I actually almost forgot to do that.
You got to get on that. It comes out tomorrow.
I think he's like 8 to 10 touches per game, that being Bell. But like I said, people are ready to drop Dobbins.
All right. That's all the time we got for this beautiful Thursday. Go watch your games. Have some fun. Check out Chris Meaney's work at Fade the Noise Network and the Mean Streets podcast. Again, if you can go give him a little 5-star review and say...
He's much nicer than I am.
Meaney's the man. He's much nicer than Jake. Much nicer than 90% of the world. Chris, thanks, man. This is great. I miss Chris Meaney. I miss Chris Meaney a lot.
I miss you guys too. It's awesome to jump on here and just talk football with you guys just for a little bit and catch up. So thanks for having me, and I appreciate the shout out.
And thanks to Jock Market for sponsoring our shows. Check them out this Sunday, man. It's a very fun game if you're into like trading during the games and moving values around and kind of speculating on who might be taking off and who you can buy low. It's basically a fantasy season squished down into one game, and you can have a lot of fun with it, win some money. So shout out to Jakey. Shout out to Meaney. We'll see you later.